Hey, hi everyone. My name is Amit, and I'll be your educator for the Tableau trainings. I come with more than 10 years of experience of working into BI and data science. I have my footing on the tools like Tableau, Power BI, SQL, Excel, Python, etc. The kind of tools that we use extensively for data analysis, visualization, and doing predictive modeling. I've also delivered various BI solutions for the firms like Sainsbury, Tesco, Volkswagen, ABB, etc. So I welcome you all to this Tableau training. So let's get started with this. So Tableau, as a tool is something which we use extensively for doing data analysis and converting our raw data into the form of charts and graphs. So the main USP of this training is data, right? So how do we make the best use of the data so that we can come out with some quick insights and analysis which can help the business generate much more insights about the products and the services that they are selling. So before we jump onto the Tableau, right? So first of all, we need to understand why has data become so important. So, like all of us have been talking about the data a lot today, right? Everyone is talking about data, right? So whether you are from finance domain, HR domain, insurance, any domain you are working in, data is something which has become a vital ingredient of every business. So have you ever thought that why the data has become so important? Right? See, the reason for that would be, I would say the first thing is digitization, right? So today, what has happened is everything is connected to the internet, right? So you have to order groceries, you have to book a cab, you have to book a vacation, you have to buy medicines. I mean, you name the thing, you can do that with the internet in your hands. Not just these services, in fact, your gadgets are also today connected to the internet, right? Like for example, you talk about your TVs, you talk about your cars, you talk about your air conditioners, Alexa, Google Home. So you see, right, everything is now connected to each other. In fact, I was reading a small study that Amazon is planning to launch the dustbins, and which will be like again connected with the internet. And what they will do is the moment you will throw your dump in that, so those dustbin can read the barcodes attached to those dump, right? Like what happened is, so when you order something from Amazon, right? So when you order something on Amazon, they know that XYZ person has ordered the packet of biscuits. Now that packet of biscuits will have a barcode, right? They will know that okay, this barcode has been delivered to this customer. Now when that customer eats those biscuits, he's going to throw that wrapper in that dustbin. Now that dustbin will read that barcode, and with that, Amazon will get to know that the biscuits have got over in his home, and directly a message will be sent to your Amazon app with the help of which, they will give you that these biscuits are over. Would you like to order it? Right? You see how the interconnectivity between the data is happening. So, that's the reason data has become important because, if we are able to manage and store the data well, we can actually generate a lot of insights from there. And in fact, with internet, we are generating this data at a very, very fast pace and in a very, very high volume, right? So like, for example, if you go on Amazon, even if you don't buy anything, right? You just go to the website platform and just search for some items, although you haven't purchased anything. But what you have done is you have generated some data over there that a customer came and he was looking out for these items. Now, let me give you some small facts like within 60 seconds, what happens around the globe. See, within 60 seconds, there is almost like 7 lakh hours of Netflix that is watched around the world. There is 20 million text messages that people send to each other, right? There are millions of scrolls that happen on the Facebook, Instagram, etc. So, see, everything is generating the data. And that's where it becomes very important for us to manage and handle that data well. And that is where this tool Tableau is going to help us. So Tableau, as a tool is something which is a business intelligence tool, right? So the first and the most important point over here is to understand what is BI. The BI is the complete system which helps the business to provide right information to the right people at the right time so that they can make effective decisions, right? So all the data that you are generating, right? All the data that gets generated. So now that has to be stored somewhere. And then what happens is that data is something which is fetched from the systems, reports are created, and those reports are shared with the managers, stakeholders, store managers, so that by looking at those reports they can understand what went well and what needs improvement, right? So technically BI is not just a software, right? It's a complete implementation of how you store your data, how you manage it, and then use that data for the purpose of analysis. Some of the examples, right, how this BI can help you take some better decisions. For example, at a retail store would like to understand how the sales have been happening for the last 6 months, right? Whether my sales have gone up, they have gone down, they have been stagnant. He will be able to get those answers by analyzing the data. A phone seller would like to know which are the top selling products that he has at his store, right? So if he sees that, okay, brand A, brand B are the top selling phones, probably he will try to make some strategies around it to sell other brands also more, or maybe how to take those sales at a much higher pace, right? Banks, they would like to understand, right, what's the time at which the customers visit in the highest quantity to their bank, right? Because see, that's a people community, right? People go to the bank for their transactions, and it's their duty to make sure the customers have a comfortable experience. So if they're able to understand what are the peak times, they can make the arrangements accordingly, right? So if I try to summarize what BI is, BI is all about how we are actually collecting all our raw data, right? The raw data can be now in different formats, because in every company, what happens is there are different teams. So there will be team A, there will be team B, there will be team C, and likewise there are going to be multiple teams. Now each team, is something which is going to generate its own data. So that data is going to be completely in the raw format. Now that raw data, which is in the raw format, it has to be pulled up from the different sources, right? So first of all, you will bring all that raw data, which could be in different formats as well, right? Some could be storing the data in the Excel file format. Some could be storing it in the form of CSVs, Word, PDFs, some databases. Once that data comes from those different data sources, then what we have to do is we have to do some compiling. Compiling means, that data might need a little bit of a cleaning. You have to remove bad data, remove duplicates, remove blanks, etc. Once that data is clean, then that data can be used to generate insights. That is when you start analyzing the data, you start bringing out the insights from there, so that a report can be created, which then can be shared with the stakeholders, and they can do a proper decision making based on that. In order to do this BI, right, in order to do the complete business intelligence, there are multiple tools in the market, right? So there is Tableau, Power BI, Cognos, ClickSense, Looker, Data Wrapper. Not many tools are available in the market. But Tableau, being one of the tools, which was a kind of a tool which was completely drag and drop, no coding required. It came very early in the market. So this became, a showstopper. So this is the tool which is used extensively into the companies because of its ease of use and the kind of features that it offers to its customers. So now the question that comes to our mind is that, all right, we have a lot of data, but why visualizations, right? Why do we need to convert all the data into the form of visualizations? See, what happens is visualizations makes it easy for us to understand the data. The human mind is trained in such a manner that it understands visual patterns in a better way, right? So when you look at some visuals, you are able to easily understand the trends and patterns out of it, as compared to a raw data which is provided to you. Also, it's less time consuming, right? When you take a look at a visual, right? So when you take a look at that visual, you are able to, in a very less span of time, you're able to understand what information that visual is trying to convey, right? So that's where, what happen is in data science, all the tools will provide you a functionality where we will be converting our text data into the form of graphs, which help us in a healthy analysis of our business. So as we talked, so why visualizations? Because we are good at understanding visual patterns, and it helps us in easy absorption of the information, which we also remember for a longer period of a time, right? See, because like, for example, you all think, right? If you have to read a novel and watch a movie, right? So like Harry Potter, you have a novel also, you have a movie also. So if you watch a novel, you will have to spend a lot more time right? You'll have to spend a lot of sleepless nights, and then you will be able to complete novel, and you will be able to understand what that novel was all about. And it's all text. But when the same thing is converted into the form of a movie, so what is happening over there is, you get the same information and you have to spend less time. And also, movie you will remember for a longer time, right? So that's where we have to understand that why visualizations are important. So for example, let's take a look at these two charts. Okay. These are just plain visualizations that we have. So if you take a look on the first chart, in this chart, we are trying to, in this analysis, we are trying to understand, right, how the different generations have adopted, the smartphone, tablet, and social media. So by looking at the first visual, I can tell that, millennials are the people who have adopted to these, the ownership of a smartphone in the highest percentage. And as the age is increasing, the ownership of a smartphone is decreasing, right? When we take at a look at ownership of a tablet, so we can see that, the when it comes to owning a tablet, so the percentage of Gen Xers is higher, and it's a little bit lower for millennials. And again, it's similar for, baby boomers, and silence, the percentage is the lowest. So what I see, there's a different trend when it comes to owning a smartphone and a tablet, right? See, there are two things now. One is what chart is saying. Second is diagnosis. Why could that trend be seen? See, my answer would be that my thoughts could be that, because when it comes to a tablet is a bit expensive, right? So the people who are millennials, who are relatively young, they are in their college or they would have just started their jobs. For them, it could be a little bit of an expensive product to buy. So that's why Gen Xers who are in the middle aged and probably, in the higher stage of their careers, so they would be preferring a tablet, right? Tablet comes with a bigger screen. So probably, that is another reason the people with higher age would prefer a tablet, right? Because they have to take their calls, presentations, everything can be taken with the help of that, right? When we come to use of social media, so we can see again, the percentage of the millennials is the highest for a social media. And as the age is increasing, the percentage of, the adoption of social media is decreasing. When we take a look at this pie chart, see, this pie chart is telling us what are the different food preferences across the globe. By looking at the chart itself, I can tell that, Thai food is the least preferred. Italian food is the one which is most preferred by the people around the globe, right? Chinese and Mexican, they also have a high, liking for the foods across the globe. So this is where you see two visuals and they give the complete information about generations, about the food preference within seconds. So what happens is whenever we create some visualizations, so see in the visualizations, there are certain things that we use very extensively. There are 4 parameters that we use for making some effective visualizations: color, shape, size, proximity, right? Color, as in, if you see over here, the color was helping me understand which generation is what, right? Like throughout the charts, the color component was same. Green was representing millennials, millennials, millennials. So color was helping me identify the generation, for example, in this particular case, right? Similarly, you will see a lot of visuals, like in the pie chart also we can see the color is helping me understand blue is American, purple is Thai, yellow is Mexican, right? Second parameter is size. If you see over here, size of the bar, bigger the bar, higher the value, smaller the bar, lower the value, right? Third parameter is shape. Shape is something, like for example, you're trying to create a chart. You would like to say that, okay, if the shape is circle, it refers to group A. If the shape is square, it refers to group B. So we are using shape over there. Then thirdly, we have proximity. See, proximity is closeness, right? So basically, when you create the visualizations, you have to keep similar type of analysis together, right? Smartphone and tablet is together because they are similar kind of a category, right? If you are putting smartphones there, social media here, and tablet somewhere else, so a little bit of a story creation becomes difficult for the, the reader of the report. Okay. So these are 4 parameters which actually, define how effective the visualization could be and what are the things that you have to take care of while working on it. So for example, some of the examples are over here where we have used some data visualizations. You can see how the charts have been created and we will be able to generate insights and analysis from here. So this is something, where we club multiple charts together is something which is called as a dashboard. So the benefits of visualizations are, as we discussed, ease to understand, less time consuming, best way of presentation, and provides easy context to the complex data sets. So whenever we make the visualizations, there are certain things that we should always take care of. First is fulfill the purpose. See, if you have made a visualization, and for example, now if that visualization, before you start creating it up, you should understand that, okay, why you are creating it, right? So you should know the purpose that, okay, if a person should look at the chart, he should be able to understand that particular thing very effectively, right? That's defining the purpose, right? Like, for example, in the COVID-19, we all saw a lot of charts and graphs. So there were charts which used to help us to understand, are the number of cases going up or down? So line charts were used over there. So a proper chart will actually help you to depict the correct information. Second, consider your audience. Now, see, if suppose you create some very, very complex charts and you share with your audience, and the audience is very, very beginner to the reports. So it will be tough for them to understand what the chart is telling, right? So if you know that your audience is very basic or beginners, choose the charts accordingly. And if you know that your audience is something which have been using the charts for a very long time, so choose the chart accordingly, right? Provide context. Provide context means that, the reports and charts that you are creating, try to put that, okay, this data has been picked up from so and so source. This gives the confidence to the reader that, yeah, the data is coming from the correct source, right? So that's something you have to take care of. Show the numbers. When you make your charts, try to show the numbers wherever it's possible, right? Which is like data labels. Chart is good, right? Like, for example, if you would have seen in this particular example, the numbers were shown on the top of the chart. So, like when you look at the numbers, you are able to say, oh, 92%, 85%. Yeah. If the numbers were not there, insights would have been there that, okay, yes, millennials are the highest. But, when you are having those numbers over here, that gives you a little more information and a little more confidence to the end user, right? Placement of the charts is very important. So that's why present the most important information first, right? Because when you start reading a report, you will start from the first chart. So it's always a good idea to keep the important information first. Then as you're going from left to right, top to bottom, the importance of that information is going down. Okay. Lastly, pay attention to aesthetics. So, what happens is when you are creating a report, it's not just that the charts are created, your job is done. No, you also have to ensure that those charts, they have proper aesthetics, proper colors, proper fonts, because a user should feel happy by reading and looking at this report, at that report, right? Because see, the report will be shared with hundreds of users. So you have to ensure that when they look at the report, they feel happy and they enjoy reading it. So these are some of the visualization best practices that you all have to follow, right? So in this session, we will discuss till here. And now after that, we'll move in the next part in the next video. Thank you, everyone.